What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It is Monday night. Typically on Monday night, we do like a private viewing party for all the people over there on the Patreon account. And this is what I love about the little community. Not little community, it's getting pretty big. It's what I love about the community that we got over there. I throw it up on the board. I say, hey, guys, would y'all be okay with me kind of opening up tonight's show for the masses? Okay, I got a pretty broad topic that I want everyone to kind of see and kind of tease you guys into maybe converting over to the little party we got started on Patreon. And of course, first thing they said was, heck yeah, bring more people. You know, the more the merrier, as some of our commenters are saying right now. Just a real positive vibe. They know that as the community grows and as the content grows, it gives us an opportunity to do more and more with this type of platform. And I've got some really great things in store for the very near future. Very near future. I'm really excited for what we've got coming in the off season and moving forward, probably within the next couple of weeks, in terms of how things are gonna look differently around here. Okay, but tonight's show, this past week, this kind of impromptu week off, had a lot of time to do some thinking about where I wanted to go with the direction of this show and what we're gonna ultimately do and how we're gonna expand. And I also got time to sit down and watch a Bama game. For the first time in a long time. Now I know people are going to say, well, Brooks, Georgia played Bama this year, so you probably did a really good, probably did a lot more watching of Bama than typically you would. Yeah, that's true. And I did a lot of, all 22 breakdown stuff of them, got to watch them on film, learn more about who Sark was as a play caller than I even did really their players. To me sometimes, and to a lot of people when you're watching film on tape, it can become more about what you're seeing in terms of X's and O's than who you're seeing in terms of Jimmys and Joes, if that makes any sense. But as I was watching them against LSU, I got a real good understanding of a flaw that I really think Georgia's got. The more and more I watched the game, the more I sat there and studied each individual player that was coming across the screen, I started noticing over and over again that I think Georgia's lacking in a major critical area. And that's really been the difference and the key over the last couple of football games that they've matched up. So I got an opener for you, as I always do. So let's get right into it. Here we go. All right. So, after 4 years of really great recruiting, 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020, 2 first-place recruiting titles, a second and a third-place finish for the University of Georgia. It's about that time where we start asking questions about the overall development of players, right? I mean, Georgia's recruited at an absolute elite level, top level. It can't get any higher, quite literally, for the last 4 years. And when you're attempting to compare the players in which Georgia has recruited, that caliber of football player, it's only fair to compare them to schools that have recruited at an equivalent or even better level. And there's not very many of them. It's quite literally only Alabama and Clemson. And since Alabama's the hurdle that Georgia's most concerned with and utmost priority is, let's take them for example. I think that's the team that we need to compare them to. That's why we're doing what we're doing tonight. Now, in my opinion, there are 3 levels of the maturation of an athlete. That's what we'll call it, the maturation process of an athlete. I think there are 3 categories. There's a skills development aspect. How much better do you get in the technique of your physical department, like what you're doing as a football player, as an offensive lineman? How much better do your feet get? How much better do your hands get? How much better does your overall technique get mechanically as a quarterback? How much do we clean up physically? That type of stuff. How do we change our mechanics? Wide receiver wise, are we tracking the ball better by the time we come in and when we leave? Those types of things. The skills management, the skills development of the player. That's area 1. Area 2, the mental development of an athlete. The old coaches saying, right? Turning these boys into young men, all that stuff. It is evident, right? It's very important for that to be a process of what you're doing as a program. Okay. So we got the skills development and the mental development of these athletes. I think Georgia does a really good job in both of those first 2. Now, the third part, I think you could argue, is the most crucial portion of this development. And that's the physical part of the development. How does the body of the athlete change from year in to year out, from start to finish, when they arrive to when they depart to the NFL? When I look at a program like Alabama, I see a consistent development between each and every athlete. You don't have too many bad bodies on the football field. They progressively get better, and not all of them started that way, okay? I can see, the technical development of each and every athlete at Georgia. I think Aziz Ojulari's hand fighting at the position of defensive end as an edge rusher has gotten incredibly and insurmountably better since he's been there at the University of Georgia. There are fewer and fewer mental busts as far as knowing your assignment, where you're going, knowing the playbook week in and week out from these young football players and specifically young receivers, right? Earlier in the season at Georgia, we saw multiple freshman wide receivers bust routes, fail to convert their routes against corner blitzes. Those types of things are being cleaned up. So we see technical development. We see mental development, knowing the playbook, knowing what you're doing, knowing where you're supposed to be, attacking the game and attacking the day in and day out correctly. We see that type of development at the University of Georgia. Now, I picture the strength and conditioning staff as the sculptor, right? This is a staff that's in charge of taking this half-molded piece of clay as an athlete when they come onto campus and turning them into the masterpiece that will ultimately be ready to go to the NFL. So when you're searching for examples of the job in which a sculptor is doing with his or her subject, you take the biggest piece of clay, okay? And let me show you what I found today while I'm watching film on both of these offensive lines, right? Biggest piece of clay. What's the biggest piece of clay? It is the offensive line. Before we get into our PowerPoint of the night, that's right, I brought out the old 2003 PowerPoint edition to show you guys an actual mental image of what I'm seeing on tape and what I'm seeing. And then we're going to show it to you on tape, okay? Now, first thing you need to know is these two schools have recruited relatively well along the front in terms of the offensive line. Alabama's just recruited less and less of them. Okay, Alabama's recruited 2 5-stars, 11 4-stars, and 2 3-stars over the last 4 years of recruitment. The last 4 cycles, that's 14 offensive linemen, whereas Georgia, on the other hand, has signed 20. They've signed 5 5-stars, the same number of 4-stars with 11, and 4 3-star athletes in those 4 classes. So right along the same amount of prospect, right along the same caliber prospect, Georgia's just got a handful of more 4 stars and 5 stars, more offensive linemen in general. So that's what you need to know. Georgia's packing them up just a little bit more. Alabama's not so much going out every year and signing 4 or 5 offensive linemen, but they're doing it at a quality rate. All right. Now, as for the physical development of these athletes, let's break out our handy dandy PowerPoint. All right. Now, this is Alex Leatherwood. Okay. Consensus, most likely first-round draft pick. This is him at the Under Armour All-American game back in 2016. All right, so take a look at the body. I would imagine he's about 355, 360 pounds at this point. This was him 3 years later at Alabama. Okay, a pretty noticeable difference between these two athletes. And I strategically chose these 2 photos because they're in a similar position, or he's in a similar position. Okay, this is him down from, I would imagine, he was never listed higher than 340 pounds. That looks like, at 6'6", to me, that looks like a little bit heavier than 340 pounds. So, boom, that's him the next year. A little bit lighter, right? Or not next year. That's him in a couple of years. Pretty developed in terms of the waistline. Looks a lot thinner and longer as opposed to nice and compacted. Now, all of a sudden, he's going to be a first-round draft pick. All right, on to the next one. This is Deontay Brown, their guard. This was him at the Under Armour All-American game all the way back in 2015, okay? Gut tightened up. Now, we still got a gut, but it's not way, way overarching, and he came in at 350 pounds. He's remained 350 pounds. I would say he took about 15 of it off of his gut, put probably 12 of it onto his arms, and maybe an extra 3 pounds on that butt of his, okay? So this is what reshaping an athlete looks like, remodeling an athlete. This is an athlete losing a considerable amount of weight. This is an athlete needing to stay his same size in terms of poundage, but to restructure the poundage just a little bit. Noticeable difference, in my opinion, there. All right, now, Brooks, Landon Dickerson, before you get into the comments telling me he was a Florida State football player first, before he transferred to Alabama, what you need to know is he put on considerable weight from high school to FSU as well, okay? There is a noticeable body change from picture A to picture B. And I would argue that from picture B to picture C, there's even more of a physical development, okay? Things are changing as this young man is progressing through college. That's how it should look. All right, on to, this is my favorite. This gets most improved, whatever you want to look at. This is Emil Ikior. Emil Ikior. Probably should have looked up a pronunciation before I got on here. You know, a professional broadcaster would do that. That's on me. Y'all mark me off for the night. That is a failed grade on my participation of, execution of name pronunciation. So Emil, this is him in high school in 2017. This is my favorite. Watch this one. Boom. Looks like a totally different football player and gained 20 pounds. This is at 345 pounds right here. That is absolutely the definition of a big joker, okay? Quite literally, from boom to boom, all right? Now let's take a look at Evan Neal, the youngest of the 5 offensive linemen. This was him in January of 2019, all right? So as he was entering his first semester at Alabama, he was an early enrollee. Let's look at him that following season as a true freshman, from this to this, okay? To me, look at the arms, okay? Arms now are a lot more vascular. I mean, there's a vein running through that joker's biceps. I think the midsection tightens up quite a bit. All right. So now let's talk about Georgia. Georgia, again, recruiting the same caliber of athletes. They're doing it pretty well, recruiting at a pretty high level. Now, this picture, guys, I know what you're thinking. Oh, that must be Jamari as a freshman to Jamari now. No, that is Jamari Sawyer in camp on the left, and that is Jamari Sawyer about 2 weeks ago on the right. Okay. He came into camp this year, I would imagine, around 300 pounds. I have some sources that tell me he was under 300 pounds. I have some sources that tell me he was right around 305. So let's call it that. Let's call it 305 on the left. Okay. On the right, I don't know what he's weighing. I haven't gotten him on a scale, and nor do they report those kind of things. So, okay, noticeably the body is changing, and you can make the argument of whether it's better or worse. I'm just going to tell you that being a left tackle and what I'm seeing on tape, some of the stuff I'm going to show you tonight, Jamari was much better playing left tackle against Arkansas than he is right now, okay? And a lot of that has to do with whatever's going on right here in this picture. All right, on to the next one. Justin Schaefer, been there a long time, right? Justin Schaefer, body should have developed a good bit, right? Body should have developed a good bit. I mean, going from Cedar Grove, a pretty good high school football program here in the state of Georgia, to the University of Georgia. Body should have changed some, right? I don't know. Did it? I mean, we still got the same midsection. Arm definition. I mean, never been one with these got gigantic cut up arms, all shriveled and veined out, and muscular and bulky. Never been one of those guys. Okay. Not much has changed though, right? We've lost some weight. Okay. Just a little bit of weight, down about 10 pounds over 4 years at Georgia. All right. On to the next one. Trey Hill. Guys, I mean, those arms and that chest and those legs and that lower half look about identical in this very next photo. That's them on the road, I believe, at South Carolina. So no real major changes there. All right. Now, I know what you're thinking now, but hey, man, that Ben Cleveland dude, he's a freak. Everybody talks about him. He's got to have gotten much bigger, much, much bigger. The only thing is, Ben was a freak in high school. Okay. Look at the veins on this dude. This guy was born to be 6'7", 315 pounds. He was born to have a broad chest and look like he's coming out of the smoke for a WWE appearance. Okay. Yeah. He's gotten noticeably bigger. But guess what I know about Ben Cleveland? Ben Cleveland wakes up every morning, eats a bowl of 45-pound plates. If he's not lifting, he feels weird. If he's not carrying dead deer out of the woods, or God forbid an elk when he gets up there out Midwest and shooting big game animals, he probably loads them jokers up and throws them on his back and backpacks them out the woods. Okay. This dude is what he is. He's always been massive. Okay. And he's gotten a little bit bigger. Kudos to him. All right. How about Warren McClendon, our other starting tackle? You know, body kind of looked a little bit sloppy in high school, but just a big kid, like most big kids. Okay. Not a lot of definition anywhere. Okay. Still not a whole lot of definition everywhere. Let's start from the top, shall we? From the top. And I'm just going to roll through them 2 seconds apiece. Picture A, picture B. Picture A, picture B and C. Picture A, picture B, picture C. Picture A, this is my favorite. Picture B, we'll run it back. Picture A, picture B, picture A, Picture B. Now, on to Georgia. Picture A, same season. Picture A. Picture A. Picture B. Picture A. I mean, those two look like twins, absolute twins, because they're the same person. They're just 4 years apart. Picture A, picture B, picture A, picture B. All right. Now, Brooks, why are we going through all that? We're going through all that because, to me, it is evident when I watch these two football teams play. They've got incredible, incredible athletes, great athletes, top-notch athletes. One school, it appears to me, has physically developed those athletes to their utmost ready and NFL primed bodies. They are doing something different at one school than they do the other. Okay? And here's how it's important to the game of football. Georgia's lost the last 3 matchups with Alabama. Win in the third and fourth quarter. Okay? It's not a whole new lineup coming into the game. Apart from a couple of quarterback changes over those 3 football games, what's been the difference? One team is finished better than the other. What goes into finishing? Well, it goes into physical stamina, how your body holds up under pressure, and your overall athleticism and how long you can maintain that athleticism. It goes back to stamina. Okay. Don't you think physically developing these bodies to the utmost level would help you sustain your utmost level throughout a football game? Absolutely. So that's problem A. Problem B is let's just look at the tape. How does it translate to the field, Brooks? That would be the next proper question that somebody should have put in the chat already. So we're going to go through a couple of drives, and I've gone through and I've actually scanned, because there's a great thing about when Georgia plays Alabama. They're basically the Spider-Man meme, except one's Big Brother Spider-Man, okay? If you were to imagine the Spider-Man meme with one Spider-Man like 2 inches taller and a little bit more buff and has got a hotter girlfriend, that's what Alabama is as comparison to Georgia. But they do the same thing. They run the same defense. Offensive coordinators are both really, really skilled, but defensively they're identical. So I know if Georgia comes out in 2 tight ends and 1 wide receiver to the far side and runs stretch zone into the tight ends, I guarantee I can find Alabama doing the same thing, or at least playing the same defense against it. And guess what? My hypothesis was correct. I got about 8 or 9 plays where I'm going to pair them up and say, this is how Georgia does it. This is how Bama does it. Now, the things I want you to watch for, okay, being big, athletic, and strong as an offensive lineman, I feel like helps you in a couple of categories. How well do you pass off twist, right? How well can you stop, redirect, and get back to where you're supposed to and get back on your assignment? How you handle twist really, really tells me what kind of athleticism you have. And the other one is how well do we block outside zone? It's a scheme designed to get outside and get the defender in front of you reached, okay? It requires great athleticism, guys moving really, really fast horizontally to get in front of defenders. Okay, so that's one way I judge how athletic you are. And my final way is, how's your offensive line coach using you? Is your offensive line coach allowing you to pull and do all kinds of funky stuff? If that's the case, then he probably thinks you're a really, really good unit as far as your athleticism goes. If he's asking you to line up over and over and over again and run inside zone and run your head against a brick wall, it probably tells you what they think of their offensive line as a unit athletically. So I'm going to show you exactly what happens when, and for the record, guys, I totally think Matt Luke, wants to design his offensive line to do all of these things. He's just not quite got the guys to do it right now, or he's not training his guys up to do it right now, physically and mentally. So let's get into the tape. All right, so we're going to 3 minutes on Georgia's offense. Let me share my screen right quick. Sorry, guys. All right, we're going to 3 minutes on Georgia's offense. And, guys, we're going to be jumping back and forth between all 22 clips tonight. And please forgive me while we do it. Okay, now, here's the deal. When you got an offensive line coach or offensive lineman like Jamari Sawyer that, to me, has put on noticeably, a good bit of noticeable weight, when you get a defensive end and a 4-eye technique on him and you're asking him to cut that guy's face off, get his head across that defensive lineman's and seal this backside edge off, when the young man's gained a little bit of weight and lost some speed, sometimes he's going to get beat across his face like that right there, Okay. And boom, you're going to get tackled for loss on your opening drive of the game or second drive of the game. Okay. So this is what standard inside zone looks like. For people who don't know, this is it. And guess what, guys? I got a big TV coming my way where I can walk up there and I can actually draw the lines on where everybody's going. It's going to change this thing, and it's going to be a much better product. I promise you it's going to be incredible. So this is what happens, okay? You're not as fleet of foot. You can't get across that guy's face. He's going to beat you. That's where athleticism, when we lose our athleticism, when we lose our burst, when we lose our technique, when we lose all that stuff, we get beat across our face, okay? And it doesn't happen every time, but it's going to happen occasionally if we're not an elite athlete and an elite specimen. Okay. Now, let's compare what Georgia's doing right here to what Alabama's doing at 436. Now, y'all didn't think y'all was going to get it like this tonight. Y'all going to get it like this. Okay. Here's what Alabama does. So they get into a very similar set, right? 2 tight ends, 21 personnel, 2 back, 1 tight end. Now, what do? They motion the wide receiver in, and they run inside zone left with the back going right. Okay. Why do they do this, Brooks? Why do they do this? Well, if you remember, take a look. Everybody's working to their left. All these guys. He's out on that. Leatherwood's out on Jermaine Johnson. Deontay Brown's out on Devontae Wyatt. They're comboing this nose tackle to this backside inside linebacker. They're comboing this defensive end back to this backside inside linebacker. These tight ends got Nolan Smith. Okay. Let's take a watch. Take a watch. Okay. Everybody gets blocked up. They cut it out the backside. Now, let's watch it from Georgia's point of view one more time. What happens here? Here, they just run traditional inside zone straight to the tight ends. They don't try going left and cutting the back right. They don't do any of that right now. Okay. So they run traditional inside zone. Look, he's getting beat play side. We got 2 players on 1 defender. Ben Cleveland's in a bad position against that linebacker. We got a backside in, cutting in. Okay, everything's made really, really tough. So not only is Alabama's coordinator early on in the football game figured out that, hey, you know what probably isn't a good idea? What probably isn't a good idea is trying to run traditional zone against these guys that have had inside zone ran against them 155 times this year. So let's do something a little different. Let's run split zone or a version of split zone. Send the running or the lineman left and have the running back cut right. We'll have the quarterback open up to the backside, and we'll immediately try to hit backside A gap. Okay, so boom, there's a coaching adjustment. Now remember this motion and this wide receiver. Okay, remember that. Just keep it in your head. That's a pop quiz later in the studio session, and I hope y'all remember that one. All right. So y'all ain't even got to remember it very long because I'm going straight to it right now in my notes. We're going to 454 on Georgia's clips. So a couple of possessions later, they come right back to inside zone. They're trying to run it. Okay. This time just out of I think I got the right one. Okay. Out of 1 tight end instead of 2 back. And they're trying to hit the backside edge. Okay. Setting up the backside cuts. Hey, let's not try to force it. Let's not try to force an A gap. Let's not try to force an A gap. Okay, but here's what they missed. Okay, you see the alley defender? Watch that. Let's watch it from the wide. All right, this alley defender right here, Malachi Moore, is who's going to make this play. Okay, he's going to take his assignment, squeeze the gap, make this tackle at about +4. Okay, so Georgia ultimately made the adjustment. They came back to what they were doing against Kentucky a lot. If you guys watched our film sessions, the whole premise of the play was to get the backside tackle and the tight end to down block essentially on this defensive end and seal off this outside backer, which is exactly what they do right here. Boom, boom. They got it sealed off, and we got all this alley to run into, except for the fact that Malachi Moore is playing in the alley. So remember I told you to remember that motion. We're going to have a pop quiz later for you in the show. Well, here comes that daggone pop quiz. It's right here. Okay, here's the pop quiz. When we watch this play from the wide, watch what happens to who would have made this backside cutoff a tackle. Okay, Tyson Campbell is now the alley defender. Take this as Malachi Moore from the previous angle. Now watch. they're going to motion Jalen Waddle into the formation, and they're going to tell him, hey, go block the alley defender. Now it's made the alley defender Richard LeCount, and he's 12 yards away from the ball carrier as opposed to 4 yards away from the ball carrier. And what's it do? It allows Najee Harris to cut this ball back and then outrun Richard for an 8-9 yard gain. Okay? So this was the first time they went to inside zone, and they knew, hey, we probably shouldn't run traditional inside zone, conventional inside zone. I think they're too good on the front side of the attack. Let's design all of our inside run plays to cut backside. Let's open up backside. Matter of fact, let's rotate Jalen Waddle in there and motion him in there and let him pick up the alley defender. Whereas Georgia comes out, they run the traditional inside zone, and it's like, oh crap, hey, they're really good front side. We might need to, get back to cutting backside where we think the hole might be. Then they finally get there, and it's like, oh, well, shoot, how are we going to get the alley defender? And then they design up another play to motion, or Jermaine Burton out there to go tell him to unzip his feet on the alley defender, and now we got to play. Whereas a team like Alabama clearly came out of this football game knowing this is what we're going to do, okay? So not only is the offensive line being, to me, and all these players, I think it extends to all these players in terms of physical development. I think they're physically becoming much better football players as they're there. Not that Georgia's isn't. I think Georgia's got a hit or miss strategy right now, whereas it seems like Alabama, all 22 guys on both sides of the roster, they're getting bigger, they're getting faster, they're getting stronger. I can't say the same about Georgia's guys. There are some people on Georgia's roster where physically it looks like they are the same athlete as the day they were when they showed up on campus. It is what it is, okay? And we've got a pretty good sample size at this point of what I'm talking about. Because I just showed you 5 of them. 5 of them. All starting of your offensive line. Just showed you 5 bodies. And again, we strategically chose those because those are the biggest pieces of clay. That's where the most work's got to be done typically. Okay? Let's see here. All right. Now, let's compare right guards here. This is what I was telling you. Remember I said they're a Spider-Man meme? They're the same football team defensively. They run the same stuff. If you watch it long enough, play by play, watch one play of the other, watch one play of the next, you're going to see them do a lot of the same stuff. What they're doing right here is they're doing what Georgia does. They're firing Patrick Surtain from the corner right here into the boundary, a corner blitz. They're dropping the safety back over the top of who he had, unless it's a nub set, which I think it might have been. It looks like it's a nub set to me, so they're automatically firing the corner. Now, watch Ben Cleveland, okay? Ben Cleveland doing a good job keeping his inside pressure or keeping the pressure inside. Now, he's got his eyes back outside, and he sees the corner. He's got it identified pretty quickly. Now, let's watch how he decides to go block this corner, turns his hips, and goes and throws his hands on him. Did his job, right? He went out there and did his job. That's not the point. My point is how he did the job because it tells me where our deficiencies are. This, to me, does not look like an athletic move. Now, it was great that he got his eyes out there. It was great that he got out there quick enough to get a shot on Surtain. It was great that he picked it up and, had a chance to let his guy deliver a ball, okay? But it was flawed in terms of technique and how we got to that position, okay? Now, let me show you what Bama's guys do, okay, and how Bama looks against the same exact stunt and same exact blitz, okay? This is why you guys should subscribe. I do this kind of stuff on the weekly, okay? Same exact blitz, except now the guard's uncovered. Jalen Carter's right over the nose. Look, eyes are immediately on the corner, first of all. And guess what? He's going to stay in his kick slide the entire time. Watch how beautiful this is. This is a 6'5", 345-pound man moving like this. Watch this. Picking up Tyson Campbell, teammates, high school teammates of Patrick Surtain. There wasn't no turning and running. There wasn't no just getting a hand on him. There wasn't nothing. He was in a perfect kick slide the entire time because he felt comfortable with his body and with his athleticism. That's where those things start to show up. That's where that physical development starts to show up to me. Ben Cleveland has been the same 6'6" tree of a man since he got on campus. He'll run block the hell out you. He'll down block the hell out you. If you want to run right down his chest in a pass situation, by God, he's going to stop your bull rush. But this is what this is supposed to look like. Okay? This is not. Again, both get the job done. One's going to get the job done every single time. The next one is not. Okay? We're going to 14-13 on the Georgia tape. I'm aware of the 3 technique over Cleveland. He also went away immediately off the snap. So they went to a 0-man surface. Okay. What are we watching here? All right, another coaching adjustment. How do they go about running trips bunch? How do they run the football out of this bunch look? Right? We got Trey McKitty, Karis Jackson, and who you can't see is Jermaine Burton over here. Okay? How do they go about doing this? Running traditional inside zone to the left. Okay? Everything's got to cut back because we're losing at the point of attack. Look, everybody's losing. This play is designed to read off of the front side guard. If this guy wins his ball or wins his job, wins his one-on-one, typically the ball is kept front side. Okay, that's who he's reading. Inside butt of the guard. Watch his eyes. Boom. His eyes immediately go to the inside butt of the guard. Guard's getting his butt swum right off the snap. Okay. There's a whole bunch of cluster up here. Dylan Moses is closing front side. 94 is whipping Ben Cleveland backside. Okay. Ball's got to cut. Let's go see what Bama does in trips. Bunch like this. Bama does it at 15:03. Here we go. All right, here's the bunch look. Let's see what happened. They're in a pistol set for one. Oh, and they run counter back the other way. And then there's a massive backside cut hole. Okay? So instead of just trying to run everybody this way or run everybody this way or make it nice and hard, and everybody man on man, big on big, go win your one-on-one. Hey, let's use some athleticism, okay? Let's arc release 73, okay? Let's tell him to go block the defensive end on the outside of the outside backer. Then we'll pull and kick 88, and then we'll insert the tight end, okay? Nothing's available front side, and then if nothing's available front side, we'll jump cut and send it backside. One seems a whole lot easier to me, guys. I don't know about y'all, but when I watch this, that looks like a clean, easy way to win in a run scheme out of trips bunch. All right? When I see this, I see a lot of closed holes, not a lot of opportunities, a lot of guys, getting asked to win their one-on-ones. And I'll tell you this as well. When you're a inside zone heavy football team, teams can do this where they spike the 3 technique into A gap and wrap the linebacker into B gap. Because guess what? You're running a gap scheme offensive run play. So as long as they fill all of the gaps in that gap scheme, they're going to win. Okay? They're going to win. You've got nowhere to run. So when they spike this defensive tackle into A gap and throw off all of your double teams, literally all of them, and then wrap the linebacker into B gap, guess where you can't run the ball anymore? You can't run the ball into front side B gap like you wanted to. So now you got to bounce it out. As opposed to what Alabama's doing, where when they've got so much misdirection up front, they've got such athletes up front, you can't slant on them all night long because you leave gaping holes because you don't know where they're running the ball. One just seems a lot easier to me. Okay? But is it easier because Matt Luke doesn't know how to call those play schemes? No, he knows them. He did it at Ole Miss. The difference is it looks to me like Alabama has an offensive line that they trust out in space and that they can move. I got screens for you somewhere. How did I miss the screens? I got screens for you in here because I've been telling y'all all week or all season that Georgia's had a real big problem in their screen game. All right, here's traditional outside zone. Now, Kendall Milton does a great job kicking this backside. He's lucky Stetson Bennett kept a few balls earlier in the game because you see that? It holds 92 just a little bit, and then they can cut this backside. But this play is intended to go outside and up the sideline, okay? It is intended to capture the edge and get north. It is not originally intended for this play to cut backside. If it does ultimately cut backside, great. That's fine if it's there. But it's only cut backside because the front side is completely closed off. 8's a free defender hanging in the only gap that might have even been there. Okay? Outside zone is really, really hard because watch what happens as soon as these guys open up. As soon as Georgia's offensive line opens up, watch what these defensive line from Alabama do. They say, oh, for real? They just going to bolt. They're all going to sprint out and follow the direction of the play. Okay, now they're fighting your momentum as you're trying to swing your hips around and seal them off on the edge. They're fighting you over the top, just like 4 is doing, and he gets dumped. Okay, just like 8 was doing, just like 58 is doing. They're all trying to fight to keep you from sealing them on the edge. Really, really tough assignment, especially against defensive linemen that get as vertical as these guys up the field. It's really hard to cut them off. Now, Georgia's defensive line plays a very similar skill set. Okay? 15-24. A very similar skill set. I think it's the very next play. Okay? So what does Bama do? When they want to go outside zone, almost out of an identical look, what do? Well, I'll tell you as soon as this cuts up. All right. So they're trying to run. They're going to motion the back into the backfield. Okay? They're trying to run outside zone this way. They've got a nub set, which brought the corner in. Okay. What are they going to do to get to the edge? Well, instead of trying to make everybody run outside, 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 what they're going to do is they're going to say, oh, well, look, we got the angle right here on the down block. So let's just down block him and pull the front side guard. Okay. That might allow us to get on a better surface really, really quickly. Matter of fact, let's down block 85 too and pull the backside guard as a wrapper. We call this pin and pull. Now, the play isn't quite there. Okay. Matter of fact, Georgia's play gained more yards than Alabama's. So it's not about which one's right, which one's wrong. What it is about is the difference between what these guys can do with their offensive linemen and what they're willing to do and what Georgia is constantly doing with their offensive linemen. Make sense? Now, I've got to find that screenplay from earlier in the season. Of course, I can't find it. I know I got Bama's play. Let's watch 111 out of Bama's offense. Now, you guys that have been watching me all year, what have we talked about from these offensive linemen from Georgia? How bad they are in the screen game, right? How absolutely horrible they are in the screen game. Offensive linemen can't find a freaking body out on the edge to block. They can't do it. It's been borderline impossible. So let's watch a team that can do it. Matter of fact, let's watch it in full speed. I want y'all to see how physical these dudes are and how quickly they move. Watch 55. 55 goes and puts Nakobe Dean on his butt, front side guard. Look at that. I mean, that dude looks like a freaking fullback running out there. That is frightening. Okay? We watched 55. Now let's watch 69, the center. He's going to Olay 2 guys. Oh, and then go get Richard LeCount. Let's watch 65, the backside guard. He's going to Olay a guy. And then, boom, get his eyes back around and pick up Aziz. Now, guess what? We get to watch it all from the tight. Okay? Watch it from the tight. And I'm going to put this in slow-mo because we're going to watch it one time full speed so you can really get the picture of how quickly these guys are moving. Okay? Watch them jet. Watch them jet out of there. Okay? Body's just hitting the floor. Body's just absolutely hitting the floor. Now let's watch it in slow-mo and talk through each guy. Okay? 55, front side guard. You got the alley defender. Okay? The most dangerous man in the alley. Kick him out. Kick him out. 17, it's you. Boom. Go get a hat on him. Finish with power. Okay? Let's watch the center. Center, your job is to find the most dangerous man in the alley. Okay, look, 55, set the edge out here. 65, set the edge inside. 69, go lead the way and run the alley is what they call it. Run the alley. Okay, 69 runs the alley. Boom, puts Richard LeCount on his butt. Now, 65, you know your job is to set the inside wall of the alley. So what do you got to do? You got to get your head back inside. You got to get your head back inside and pick somebody up. It's exactly what he does. Okay? Those are all really big individuals moving really fast. Okay? There's not a single person in that group of 3 offensive linemen that's under 315 pounds. Not one. Okay? And that looks like it's in slow or in full speed right there. It's actually in slow-mo. That's full speed. That's what a athletic line looks like. When you've developed their bodies fully, when you've taken them in and you've actually progressed their physical development, they don't look identical to what they did their senior year of high school. That's what happens. Okay? You got freaks out there blocking on the edge. And again, if you've seen anything I've done on Georgia's offense this year, you know how frustrating it's been to watch this offense try to run screens. They've just been terrible at it all year long. And I'm really, really mad that I can't find the screenplay from Georgia. Oh, I found it. Oh, Justin Schaefer, forgive me, son, because we're about to watch you fall on your face. All right. Let's watch it one more time. Here we go. We're going to 15-11, I believe. So we just watched a perfectly executed screenplay by some really big dudes running out into space. Okay? Let's watch it here. This is not the play. This is the play. I believe. Is this the play? Nope. Damn it. 12:01 is the play. What was I doing? 15:11. That's on me. That's on me. I'll take that one. All right. Got it. Okay, they're just trying to run halfback screen right here into the boundary. This is a play we've seen Monken go to several times this year. He actually really, really likes it. Okay, Schaefer, avoid the defensive end. Go block the corner. Ben Cleveland, get up. Block the linebacker. George Pickens, go block the safety. If everybody gets there, got blocked, we are banging our head on the goalpost. It is a touchdown. Get out there. The only problem is Schaefer fell down on his face. Ben Cleveland appears to me like he don't know what the heck he's doing. All right, so the last play we showed you with Alabama, it was clear the guy who knew he was the kick-out guy knew his job. The guy that was in charge of running the alley clearly knew his job. And the guy that's job was to seal the inside edge of the alley absolutely 1,000% knew his job. So which one of these guys doesn't know their job? Because Schaefer is looking at the corner. He's only just falling on his face because let's call it what it is. Not a superb athlete. All right. Ben Cleveland has not once looked at this inside backer, and now he just now turns inside and looks at him. And guess what? He's already making the tackle. So is the difference that Alabama has more 5-stars than Georgia? No, Georgia has more actually. Is the difference that Georgia has better coaching? I don't think so. Because I can show you over and over again that Georgia's really doing a pretty good job scheming up wins over and over again offensively. I think Monken's shown you that. What I am showing you is that there is a clear difference of athleticism here. A clear difference. And Pickens getting put on his butt over here too. That's never a good thing. All right, I don't even want to get into DBs and linebackers because it's obvious, much more noticeable with the biggins. Remember we started the show tonight telling you that the biggest lump of clay is probably the one you need to pay most attention to, paying attention to a sculptor, right? With your very first day in art class, when they asked you to make a bowl or a teacup or whatever, they didn't tell you to make it the size of, my head, right? They told you to make like a Christmas ornament or the smallest little piece, right? So it's not hard. You get these big jokers and they got, some of them show up at 345 pounds and coach wants them to play at 310 or vice versa. They show up at 285 and coach wants them to play at 315. Them the boys that got the most work. So When I show up to a high school football field, college football field, NFL football field, the people I look to the most that will tell me whether or not a strength and conditioning staff is good or great, look at the offensive lineman. Look at the offensive lineman, okay? Because most of them have probably battled weight issues their whole life. They've either been too fat or they've been too small to play the position, so they've been eating like an absolute behemoth for decades. Joe Thomas, I'm looking at you, okay? I was just a fat one, okay? I was just big, okay? You needed to trim me up when I got to college. Never had to tell me, hey, don't worry about being too light. Never would ever have to tell me that, okay? And I don't think it's coaching. I don't know if it's coaching. Here's the other thing I don't think it is. It's selective to me. I see certain guys on this Georgia roster that have gotten much bigger, that have gotten much faster. Azeez Ojulari is one of them. Azeez Ojulari left high school with a torn knee at about 218 pounds, 220 pounds. He is a bona fide 240 pounds now and is extremely explosive and twitched up. That guy's figured something out, okay? And don't just tell me it's genetics, because all these kids got great genetics. They're all freaks in terms of what they got in their DNA and in their coding. But it's selective progression. Matt Landers looks no different than he did the day he showed up on campus. Okay? Trey Blunt just hit the transfer portal. Looks no different than the day he showed up on campus. Okay? Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm looked identical from 18 to 21 when he left the program. Solomon Kinley looked like Solly and still looks like Solly, okay? Isaiah Thomas went from 350 pounds to 330 pounds or whatever it was. He lost a good bit of weight when he came down, but he was a freak when he was in high school. I mean, he was playing running back, okay? Andrew Thomas was starting as a true freshman, and if you really look at the tape from his true freshman year, he looks like the same guy playing left tackle right now for the New York Giants. So how much did that body develop? You see what I'm saying? When I turn on the TV copy of these guys at Alabama, they all, from top to bottom, look like NFL bodies. There's not a guy that looks like Justin Schaefer out there. There's not. There's not a tackle that looks like Jamari Sawyer. There's not. Okay? There's not a wide receiver that looks like Matt Landers. There's not. Okay? Even Forrestal, the tight end, go take a close look at him next time you're watching an Alabama football game. Watch what he does. At 225, 230 pounds, look how explosive he is and how much of an impact he makes on the running game as a blocker and how strong he is, okay? That's a kid that came from Darlington High School, I believe. Maybe not Darlington. A single A school somewhere, I'm pretty sure. So Brookstone, maybe? Cartersville. I think he's actually from Cartersville, so totally wrong. Pretty big school, but he's developed a lot since he got to college, okay? That's all I'm saying. It's a minute difference. But when we look at, and some of you guys just joined in, so I think we should watch the PowerPoint one more time. When you look at this PowerPoint, I know it sounds so silly saying the words PowerPoint, but when you watch this and just look at these big dudes and how they've progressed and how much little of a progression Georgia's seen, okay, this is Alex Leatherwood before he got to Alabama. This is him a couple of years later, okay? A noticeable difference. A noticeable difference. Deontay Brown, a noticeable difference. A noticeable difference. Okay? And he remained 350 pounds. That's him at 350. That's him at 350 on the left. And that's him at 350 on the right. Okay? Landon Dickerson went to Florida State. Clearly got much bigger. Came to Alabama, got even bigger. Emil Ikior, the winner of Most Improved. Look at that. That is stupid. That is stupid. Okay, Georgia doesn't have one of those. Not that I know of. Okay. Evan Neal, starting tackle. Look at the difference. This was in 8 months. This was in 8 months. And most of it was in season. Okay. Now we look at Jamari. This is preseason camp of this year. A couple of weeks ago, in season this year. A noticeable weight gain in the middle of the season, which is rare. Okay. Justin Schaefer. Don't see a whole lot of difference there, guys. And if I'm wrong, tell me. But y'all are seeing the same photos I'm seeing. Okay. Is there that much of a difference? I don't see it. Next one, Trey Hill. Again, I started the show with this. These two guys, left and right, look identical. They look like you just put the other one in the same jersey today. Not much of a difference. Again, everybody wants to point at Ben Cleveland as the freak. Ben's been a freak. Ben was a freak at 17 years old. All I see right here personally is a progression in beard. I see a clean cut Ben Cleveland, as clean as it's going to get, because that dude probably shaves, takes a dump, and comes back with a shadow underneath his beard. Okay. And then the next photo, we got a little bit more beard. And the next photo, we got a full on mountain beard. Okay. That's about the only progression I see. Maybe a little bit of weight gain. Warren McClendon, too early to tell, really. Okay. But I could have said the same thing about Evan Neal in these photos. I'll tell you what, this player and that player look a whole lot more different between the two than this player and that player. Okay. Again, you could do it for the whole roster. I promise you. As a matter of fact, you guys that are a lot more passionate about the subject, y'all might want to do it. Just go check. But I'm telling you, Exhibit A starts with offense and defensive lines. Are those guys' bodies shaping up? Are they changing different? Are they getting bigger? Are they getting faster? Are they getting more explosive? I don't know if I see that with Georgia. So the question is, what is Alabama doing that Georgia is not at this point in time? Because, again, we've got a pretty big sample size at this point, and the sample size over 4 years is 3 losses, all 3 games in which you went into halftime with a score and a lead on the scoreboard. You squandered it in each and every half. So what is the difference? Because it ain't talent, it's not coaching, and it's not schematics, and it's not effort for that matter. What it is their 4 stars and 5 stars are becoming better 4 and 5 stars. Physically, they're getting bigger, faster, stronger. To me, your 4 stars are getting better technically. They're getting better mentally. They're becoming a better man. They're doing all that good stuff. But are they really changing their bodies? That's my question. If I were a Georgia fan, that would be my question. Why do their guys look so much different when they get onto campus and then when they're starting and beating our brains in than our guys do when they start here and when they leave here? What is going on? Is Alabama that special? And does the clock restart? I had someone give me this argument. Well, we just pulled Scott Cochran away. So maybe things change now. Yeah, y'all go ahead and hit that thumbs up like my boy Johnny Bailey's saying as I hit my closing statement. Okay. Everybody could say, well, Georgia got Scott Cochran now. So, Bama's going to lose in terms of what they're doing weight room wise. Maybe. Have you seen what Alabama's been doing since Cochran left? I'm going to tell you what, as a guy who likes data and likes analytics when it comes to body movements, body patterns, explosive data rate, and all those things, Bama's coaching staff is doing a whole lot of it. Okay. A whole lot of player development in terms of numbers on a play sheet, on a chart sheet. They've got 2 doctorates over there working in their weight room program, 2 wizards in terms of modern technology and how to use it. What's going on? That would be my question. What's going on? All right, let's take some comments as we go. And really the comments I'm going to be taking are people saying, good job, Brooks. Someone pay this man as an analyst to just rip your deficiencies. To be honest with you, that's what my Patreon people do. I'm not always negative over there. But, I tell it like it is. I tell it real, just like we did. We just spent 55 minutes telling you what the real is and how development of the body and development of the athlete ultimately plays a role 3 or 4 years down the road when we want to run pin and pull. We want to run counter effectively. We want to run power effectively. We don't want to just line up and run inside zone over and over again where defenses can make us predictable and put us into situations where we're going to lose. That's not what happens. Okay. Let's see here. They should have made Scott the strength and conditioning coach. See, I think Sinclair is pretty good at what he does. My only question, it's a buy-in thing for me, guys. I've seen it too many times at too many different programs. It's the culture in which you go about doing things. Okay. Y'all remember all them videos of Derrick Henry up in the weight room after games and after practices in his football pants and basically in his cleats doing squats of like 400 and 500 pounds? That's a culture. That's what they do. Okay. They eat, sleep, breathe, lifting weights and getting better. Is that the culture up at Georgia right now? That's my question. Are they in there 4 or 5 days a week? Because I've got it on good authority that in the season, it's not as much working out as you think there would be. Personally, from a guy who played college ball, I know what an in-season workout plan looks like, typically. Now, maybe this season is totally different because it's a COVID season. They don't want kids in the weight room bumping up on each other as much as possible because they don't want to, they want to handle contact tracing and do all that good stuff. Maybe that's the reason. So we'll just have to see. But I don't really know, man. I want to be like you when I grow up. I'm still growing up, so we'll see what happens there. We need that deer antler spray. Hey, man, I wasn't going to say it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call it a night. I appreciate y'all. Before y'all leave, man, hit that thumbs up, hit that like button. If you're over on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe if you're not already. We do this quite often. If you're not watching us on YouTube, run over to YouTube and subscribe. Look, before I let y'all go, I got to tell you that things are about to get pretty wild on this channel right here, okay? I'm really excited about the improvements that we are going to make as a staff. When I say a staff, it's me. I'm really excited about the improvements in the product that I'm bringing you here. Okay, it's going to be a lot better, a lot bigger, quite literally a lot bigger. And I'm really excited to bring it to you. So it's going to be a couple months. So just, I would say maybe 40 days. Give me 50 days to get everything put in the studio. That's right. We're building a studio. Let me get all that in there, and then I'll let y'all know. But until then, we're keeping it like we always have, right here, split screen, doing it the way I like to do it, the nitty gritty. So appreciate y'all for everything y'all do. I got my buddy Eric in here being a little sarcastic one. He's a Florida fan. Don't let him know. Don't everybody know this is a Florida fan. He's trolling. Love him to death though. He's one of my best friends. Using the Patreon bag to get some upgrades. Actually, kinda, maybe, sort of. Y'all should help me out with the bag though, because it was expensive. Brooks said he's going to be coming off the top rope. Absolutely, I will be. Hey, my Bama boy, I appreciate you, dog. I've seen you on a couple of these live streams. You hop up in here every once in a while, and you're really, really cordial about the manner in which you go about things on these comment sections. And I thoroughly appreciate that for a world that we live in today where everybody's so toxic. Which is why I love that Discord chat. If I'm doing a little bit more plugging about my Patreon, that Discord is just like these comment sections every day, all day long. All it is a bunch of good people talking about a bunch of good topics and having a good time. No nonsense, no bull crap, no screaming, no hollering, no bickering, no bitching. So y'all should come hang out over there on that Discord channel as well. But you got to sign up for the patreon.com/Brooks Austin to ultimately get it. And the OG's got a special Discord over there as well, where I'll be, dropping little nugs of intel up in there. So if y'all want to hang out, come hang out over on Patreon. Otherwise, I will see you another time. Y'all have a good one. Go kick this week's ass. It's still early, man. And if you lost today, it's okay. You might have lost the fourth quarter or the first quarter. Still got a lot of ball game left. Still a lot of game left to go get it.